We are live. Let's go. Okay, what's up, crew? Today I'm going to be ranking all these states based on scenery. So we got 5 tiers here. I'm gonna go ahead and add another one because there's some states that So we're gonna just go alphabetical order here. Alabama. It's got some beaches, some nice piney woods, pretty average overall. It's got some parts of the Mississippi Delta. Not even. No, not even. I'd say Alabama. I'm gonna put Alabama C tier. Alabama C tier. Alaska, no doubt S tier. If you've watched Alaska Creature Compilation, you know that Alaska is the most beautiful state. Period. It's the most beautiful state. Arizona. Okay, Arizona, definitely S tier because of the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon in person is probably the most beautiful place in the world, almost. Like, it's very incredible. Alright, what's up? Let's see what's happening in the chat real quick. I'm going to take a quick pause. I'm your biggest fan. Bappo, I'm your biggest fan. Okay, next we got Arkansas, the natural state. Very pretty. The drive through Arkansas is very pretty. It's got some great trout fishing. I'm going to put Arkansas at an A tier because it's not quite on the same level as Alaska and Arizona. California is another very, very beautiful state. Yosemite, parts of San Francisco, like the Golden Gate Bridge, like the scenery there is incredible. But I've also only been to California one time. I really only went to Yosemite. But even out of that, it was very, very pretty. So, I don't know. I'm between S and A tier. So, I'm going to go ahead and put S tier, just also because of the biodiversity factor. Colorado is a no doubt S tier. If you've ever been to Colorado, you know that it is incredibly beautiful. The mountains are it's just a very stark landscape because it's these very jagged peaks coming up from the ground. It's very pretty. Connecticut, D tier. Full disclosure, I've never been to Connecticut. Don't know that much about it. I know the capital is Hartford, and that's about it. I don't know of any natural landforms that are there. It kind of, to me, just seems like a big city. So, honestly, I'm going to put it in the boring tier. Delaware, you'd think it'd be in the boring tier. But actually, I've seen some very pretty pictures from Delaware at Bombay Hook National Wildlife Refuge. Not enough to make it sneak up. Well, actually, no. I think they were enough to make it sneak up into C tier. So, that's where it's going to be. District of Columbia. Hold on. You know what? I'm going to add another row below for Washington, D.C. because it is literally just a city. The only animals there are pigeons and, like, ducks. And they're like, weird-looking ducks, too. Florida, very pretty state, but I don't know. I just don't feel right putting it in S tier. I'm putting it in A tier because the Everglades and lots of the beaches, lots of good biodiversity. Also, the only state where the Antean nighthawk is. So that's a random fact. Georgia. The one time I went to Georgia, I went to this place called Rock City. It's right on the border of Georgia and Tennessee. And it is very pretty. So I'm going to put it at B tier because it's not quite on par with Arkansas and Florida, but still very pretty. Hawaii, A tier. I don't have much else to say. Probably the most unique state. Very pretty state. I'm going to go a little bit quicker through some of these. Idaho, A tier. It's kind of up there with Montana, where it's got the lots of, mountainous regions, like craters of the moon. Very pretty. Illinois, I'm going to put Illinois to D tier. In my opinion, I haven't really seen much that's that impressive about Illinois. Kind of the same thing with Indiana. And I have seen lots of pretty pictures from Iowa. So, there's lots of nice rolling hills, and I don't know. I'll put it C tier. Actually, I'll put it D tier, because I feel like those two states right here are a lot better. Kansas, definitely C tier. It's pretty middle of the road. But the Flint Hills in Kansas are very beautiful. Kentucky, that's a tough one. It's got the Appalachians in the east. It's got lots of rivers. I've never been to Kentucky, so I'm gonna put it with Kansas at C tier, because it's probably very pretty. Maine is an A tier. Maine looks so pretty in pictures. I've never been, but it looks very pretty. Louisiana. This is going to be a controversial option, but I'm putting Louisiana at A tier, because swamps are cool. That's all I've got to say about that. Maryland is okay. D tier. It's mainly just cities and some sea stuff. Not really much that I've seen. Massachusetts, I only went to Boston on a school trip one time. Wasn't very impressed. D tier. But I'm sure parts of it are very beautiful, probably like Cape Cod. So maybe I'll move it up to C tier. Michigan, I'm going to put up at B tier because of Isle Royale National Park, one of the last places with timber wolves, so it's pretty cool. Minnesota, A tier. Pictures of Minnesota are just incredible. Minnesota is pretty underrated in my opinion. Now Mississippi, another B tier. It's kind of on the same line as Louisiana, where there's a lot of swamps, but the Mississippi River Delta, if you look at some of the videos of the Mississippi River Delta, it is just incredible. Let's check the chat out. Alright, what's up? Got some creature comps in the chat. We'll see about that. Creature comp 10 coming very soon. Very soon. Missouri, the Ozarks are beautiful. And I've got some personal bias. Go Chiefs. So I'm going to put it A tier because the Ozarks are very pretty. And I've been to Missouri a ton. And there's also very cool limestone caves in everywhere in Missouri. It's like hollow. It's very pretty. Montana, S tier. Like Glacier National Park, one of the prettiest places I've ever seen. I've never been, but very pretty. Nebraska, boring. I mean, it's Nebraska. Nevada, another boring one. It's a lot of cool stuff, but it's just kind of a desert. So there's not that much different stuff there. Deserts are cool, but not Nevada deserts. New Hampshire, it's probably cool in the fall, but it's kind of on the same level as Maryland. I'm just going to put it, I'm going to move Nevada up and move New Hampshire down. New Jersey. This is a hard one, but I think I'm going to put it in boring. And in New Mexico, the only reason I'm putting New Jersey in boring is just because it's New Jersey. Yeah. So next we've got New Mexico. I'm going to put New Mexico S tier. This might be a very controversial opinion. Let's check chat, see what they're saying about New Mexico. Nothing. Okay. Lake Mead is cool. Nevada is D tier because it's really boring. That's all I'm saying. It's almost boring tier. And then New York, the upstate New York is very pretty, but it gets drowned out by New York City. So I'm gonna just go middle of the road, C tier. Okay, North Carolina. This is kind of interesting because it's got very pretty parts like the Appalachian Mountains. It's got some seaside stuff. I'm gonna give it a cool B tier. Same thing with North Dakota. Because North Dakota is cool, but I feel like it's kind of the less cool brother of South Dakota, which is probably going to be A tier. We'll get there. Ohio, D tier. Cuyahoga Valley is very cool. You could look it up. It's a national park that's right in between two cities. Only national park in Ohio. Oklahoma. B tier. Oklahoma is probably the state that I've gone to the most other than Texas. And there's some parts of Oklahoma which are just incredible. So, it's not quite the level of other states, but, it's pretty cool. Oregon. Ooh, Oregon's definitely an A tier because Crater Lake is very pretty. And so it's the Pacific Northwest, which is just a really pretty part of the country. Pennsylvania. I think I'm going to put Pennsylvania D tier because I've seen really pretty pictures of Pennsylvania. That's hard to say. But it's just not on the same level. All right, let's see what check. Let's see what's checking out the chat right here. Also, don't slander Jersey. They have great pollution. New York deserves better. I think Upstate definitely bumped it up, but I think C tier is where it deserves. Rhode Island. I'm putting it in the Justice City tier, even though pictures I've seen are very pretty, but I'm putting it in Justice City tier. South Carolina. I feel like it'd be wrong not to put it on the same level as North Carolina, just because they've got a lot of the same stuff. Don't hate on me if you're from North or South Carolina, but I think they're equally beautiful. And South Carolina has a lot of very pretty beaches. South Dakota, you know what? South Dakota is S tier, and let me tell you why. Badlands National Park is probably one of the coolest places in the entire world. South Dakota slander needs to stop. Not that I've seen any, but if it ever happens, it's got to stop. Tennessee, it's kind of similar to Georgia. When I went, it's kind of the same idea. I went to Rock City, which is very beautiful. And Tennessee, the Great Smoky Mountains are incredibly pretty. Texas, S tier. Texas, since it's so big, has so many different ecosystems. It's got temperate rainforest at Big Thicket. It's got beaches. It's got a desert. It's got mountains. It's got deciduous forests. It's got coniferous forests. Beautiful state. Love it. Utah. Okay, Utah, honestly, Utah is probably going to be S tier. Actually, Utah is going to be A tier because it's really pretty, but it's not the same as other states. I've never been there. Actually, no. Utah's S tier because Bryce Canyon, Zion. Let me double check that those are all in Utah. Bryce Canyon National Park. Utah. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Utah gets S tier. Vermont. The only reason it's going above New Hampshire, is because that's where Orvis was founded and there's a lot of good fly fishing streams. Virginia. I'm going to have to put Virginia C tier because it's got the Appalachians. It's kind of, in my opinion, it's pretty similar to upstate New York, and so they're going to be on the same level. Washington, very pretty state. I went there on the same trip where I went to Alaska. I'd probably put out an A tier because it's a very pretty seaside place, and it's got a lot of the same species that Alaska does, so it's pretty cool. West Virginia is also an A tier. West Virginia is pretty. That's all I'm going to say. Wisconsin, I'm going to be completely honest. I have no clue what goes on in Wisconsin. So I'm just going to put it in C tier cuz I have absolutely no clue. And then Wyoming A tier or S tier, my apologies, because of course. Okay, if you want to get any screenshots, get them right here. This is the definitive tier list of the states by their scenery. All right. Thanks for watching. Thank you guys for watching. That's going to be it for today. See you guys.